The fall weather is finally here, and if you're in the Midwest like I am, that means it's going to last about 3 days, and winter is right around the corner. And with winter comes a slew of awful, bad drivers who forgot how to drive in the snow from last year, and the year before that, and the year before that, and really every single year, it seems like everyone forgets how to drive in the snow. So that's why I drive with a dash cam, not just for that reason, but just for a lot of reasons in general. It's nice to have added protection to your driving experience just in case you get in an accident and there's an altercation where you need to determine who's at fault. Dash cam, you just show the footage, bam, and you are clear, unless it was your fault, unfortunately. So Vantrue reached out and sent me this dash cam, the 4K X4 dash cam. It's a different name on here as it is on their website, so I'm just going to call it the Vantrue 4K dash cam, or the X4. I'll just call it the X4 because that's what it is apparently called. Before I dive into the unboxing and everything about the product, let's go ahead and take a look at their website. So I'm going to transition over real quick. So this is their website, vantrue.net. Ooh, a network. This camera retails for $200 in US currency. I don't know, Canadian dollars or any other currency. You will have to determine the exchange rate for that. And with it comes the GPS mount, so that way you can track your rides and whatnot. If we continue down, these are the specs for the camera. It's a 4K camera with a super capacitor, so that means you can have this camera running in extremely hot temperatures and extremely cold temperatures. Has a 160-degree angle, has a wide dynamic range, night vision, loop recording, G sensor, parking mode, and time lapse. Time lapse is pretty unique for a dash cam. Typically dash cams don't have that, as you are trying to record any type of issue that would happen and you wouldn't really want to be taking pictures over and over again. So it's very interesting that this includes it. Has a 3-inch LCD screen. It's not a touch screen, so you do have navigation buttons to go through all the menus. Has a 256 gigabyte SD card support, and that's a micro SD card, I should specify. And it comes with a couple of accessories. So this is what's in the box right here. You have the quick start guide, manual, thank you note, USB cable, a power cable for your car, the camera, and then you have the GPS sensor that is also the suction cup mount. Hot tips, or warm tips as they call it for whatever reason. That's probably a translation error. But here's all the specs. If you want to pause the video, you can go ahead and take a look. There's a lot of different resolutions, 4K, 2.5K, 1080p, so a couple different ways that you can record. And then it has built-in microphone and speaker, all that cool stuff. But you don't really care about all that right now. You're probably interested in seeing the camera and the unboxing experience and what the footage probably looks like. So I'll go ahead and slide the sleeve off of the camera, bam, and we'll go ahead and open it up and you can see the presentation style. So I have been using this for a while. I did test it out to see how it works, to get some footage for you guys, and just to give you my overall thoughts on this. So when you open it up, you are greeted with the share pamphlet. Basically, what it's saying is if you share your best video, you get a chance to win a free GPS receiver mount. I'll tell you why that might be good to have a second receiver mount. But in the meantime, this camera comes with a GPS receiver mount, so you don't need to enter the competition. I thank you. Thank you for buying the product. You're welcome. I gave you money. And the next thing is quick start guide. Very accordion style, as a lot of quick start guides are. Lots of information in here telling you how to quickly set up the device, how to use pretty much everything in terms of getting it started. And then for the more in-depth stuff, you can resort to the user manual, which is in a couple different languages. You have English, looks like you have German, you have Korean maybe, Chinese, and then yeah, just a couple different languages to go through everything. I always recommend reading the user manual for any new product that you get, just to go through and make sure that you know how to use it and that you're not missing anything out. After all of that, underneath, bam, you got the camera. So you just kind of slide it out. It comes out very easily. And yeah, that's the camera right here. Very compact and form-fitting. On the top, you have your slots for the GPS device. You also have your mini USB plug at the top, your power button at the top, and then on the front end, or the back end, really where your screen is, you have your LCD screen. I still have the plastic protector on it. You have your navigation buttons to go through all the menus and quick functions, like the mute button is at the very top for when you're driving and you want to quickly mute for whatever reason. You have a mini HDMI port on here in case you wanted to loop out and go into a TV to show, maybe you go to the police station and you want to show the officer real quick. They have a HDMI setup and you just show them the footage. But I don't know why you would do that, because there's an SD card slot in there. And that SD card, you can just take it out, make a copy of the footage, give it to whoever needs it, and you're good to go. That micro USB slot up at the top, that is specifically for transferring data. I don't believe you can actually power this dash cam with just the USB up top. I'll show you what I mean in a little bit. But that is the overall form factor of this camera. So pretty nice. I'll go ahead and give you an up close of it. There you go. Thank you for focusing, camera. On the back, boom. On the side, and then up on the top. Cool. Go ahead and set that down to the side, and I will go over the accessories next. So the first accessory that you're going to see is just a standard mini USB to USB-A. This is for data transfer. You could also charge the camera with this as well. There is a built-in battery for parking mode. Yeah, just a USB cable. It's about maybe 5 to 6 feet long, not super long. And then underneath that, you have your big power cable. So with the dash cam, you always run it off of power from wired power. You don't want to do wireless. You don't want to do built-in batteries or anything like that, because you never want the camera to die, especially what if your camera dies right before an accident? Well, then you don't have the footage. You always want to make sure that it's plugged in and good to go. So that's why they include this extremely long cable. So you have your mini USB at one end, and then you have maybe this is probably more than 10 feet of cable. It's a lot. It's overkill. They give you a lot of cable for a reason, because they expect users to run the cable underneath their seats, in their car's trim, the rubber seals, up through the top, the whole 9 yards, pretty much, to just make sure that you have enough cable, and that way you can kind of tuck it away and it won't be seen. Then you have a standard 12-volt socket for any type of car charger, and then this is pretty neat. You have, of course, the power light on there, and then if you flip this to the side, you have a USB port under there, so you can plug in your, if you have your iPhone or your Android and you have a USB port that you want to plug in and charge your phone, you can do that. And from what I understand, it's actually a fast charge as well. It's not super slow. It's a pretty good amount. Then the final accessory that they give you in the box is the GPS suction mount all-in-one, which I think is a really cool and ingenious idea. So, of course, to undo the suction cup mount, you just swivel this to the side, and then that loosens up, and then you just swivel it back up in order to tighten it. It's a ball joint, so loosen that, move it however you need to, and when it's in space, when it's in the space that you want it to be in, just tighten it, and then you're good to go. So I think this design is pretty cool. I'll tell you why. You have your swivel right here to do everything, but then right here on your on the handle to loosen and tighten the suction cup, you can see that the mini USB is on there. And that mini USB is obviously to power it, because the power goes through these pin connectors. So when you are wanting to take your camera off, all you have to do is slide this in. If I can do it, come on. Bam, and it connects right there. So whenever you want to take the camera off, say you need to transfer footage real quick, or you have two, and here's the cool thing, what if you had two of these sensors and you had two cars? You had one sensor in your daily driver, and then maybe you had a car on the weekends that you wanted to take out, or a work vehicle. You could have a second sensor in there, and all you have to do, you don't need to have two cameras. You just have two sensors, and then you just pull off the camera, take it to your next, your other vehicle or your friend's car or whatever, and then you just slide it back on into the next car. If I can, I'm having real difficulty today sliding that back in. And there you go, you're good to go. Has power, everything that you need to in those pins, which is a great design feature. I really do like the design feature of this. So that's the overview of the accessories and the camera that they give you. But what about the quality of the footage? So let's go ahead and jump in. I have some night recording and some day recording, so we can go ahead and jump into those and see how exactly this camera quality looks. And by the way, this is all 4K footage. I didn't capture anything below 4K because I truly wanted to see how the 4K looks on this camera. If you're interested in anything else besides the 4K, let me know and I can try and get some more footage and upload that later. But in the meantime, here's that 4K footage.
With these regular foldable phones. But that being said, I don't think this is the end stage, right? I don't think that Microsoft wants to have a seam or a gap right down the middle, but because of the limitations of tech, if they want to keep a device thin like this, you have to have two separate panels. Otherwise, if you're bending screens and folding screens, you need to make them thick.
So with this dash cam, what do I think about it? Well, for $200, I think there are better options out there. For example, Vava, I reviewed one of their cameras earlier, the Vava 2K Dual Dash. I personally use that every single day. I love that camera. I don't think anything is wrong with that camera. I think it's a fantastic deal. The connectivity with your phone, you have an app on it, I think it's great. The snapshot button, I think that's great. So for $200, I think it's a good deal, but I don't think it's worth the 4K resolution. Personally, I'd rather have a camera that does a less resolution and has more features. That's just in my opinion. Of course, this still has the parking mode, so there's a built-in battery, so if your car gets hit while you're not in it or while you're not driving, because it's on the battery, it will realize that your car's been hit or will sense the vibrations and do a recording. It'll also do the same thing. It'll do emergency recordings, so when you're driving and you hit a big bump or you get hit, same thing, it'll sense the vibrations with the G sensor, and it will, bam, just take that recording, and then it will also lock those recordings so you can't accidentally loop record over all of that. So this has all the standard features that you would expect in a $200 dash cam. And with that, I really think that's my overall opinion. I think it's a good dash cam, but I think for $200 you can get a better deal. So look around, see if this is the perfect one for you. Maybe you're driving in super hot conditions. Maybe you're driving in southern Florida or California where it gets really hot. Maybe in Texas, and you're in a really hot environment, and you need that super capacitor because you're going to have this camera in a hot spot in your car for a very long time, and you don't want it to overheat. In that case, I think this camera would be great, but do some research, shop around. If this is the camera that fits your need, then by all means, I would still recommend this if it fits your needs. So those are my overall thoughts on the Vantrue X4 dash cam. I think it's a great camera, but for the price, you might be, missing out on a couple features that other competitors might have. So again, sorry about this kind of setup. I typically don't do reviews like this. I typically have a higher production value, but I'm just setting up my webcam, talking into it, and just kind of doing my thoughts. No script today or anything, just kind of running off the top of my head and just going over everything that I think is important for this camera. So go ahead, and if you like the video, leave a thumbs up. If you dislike the video, give me a thumbs down, and then don't just give me a thumbs down and just leave the video. Please tell me why you didn't like the video. I really appreciate the feedback so that way I can improve and get better. And if you really like the video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit the bell icon as well, so that way you're notified anytime I upload a new video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.